Once someone perceives you as a threat, everything subtly shifts around them, often without your immediate awareness. Narcissists possess an almost instinctual radar for detecting power, confidence, and authenticity in others. And when they sense that you embody any of these qualities, they instinctively react. This reaction is not random. It is a deliberate mechanism designed to maintain their control, reinforce their dominance, and protect their fragile ego. Understanding these behaviors is essential, not just to recognize them, but to safeguard your emotional well-being and preserve your inner strength. The first sign that a narcissist sees you as a threat is the minimization of your achievements. Suddenly, accomplishments that once seemed worthy of acknowledgement become points of criticism, ridicule, or indifference. They may dismiss your efforts by making subtle comments, comparing you to others, or framing your successes as luck or coincidence. This behavior is not a reflection of your true value. It is a projection of their insecurity. Your talents, efforts, and victories are inherently yours, independent of anyone else's validation. Affirm to yourself, my worth is independent of others' opinions. My light shines regardless. Repeating this affirmation daily strengthens your self-perception and reduces the impact of their undermining words. Second, you may encounter distortions of reality and truth, commonly known as gaslighting. Narcissists manipulate facts, events, and even memories to make you doubt your own perception. They may deny things you clearly remember, twist conversations, or assert that your feelings are invalid. This behavior can leave you questioning your memory and judgment, creating a sense of instability and self-doubt. Recognize that your experiences are valid, and you have every right to trust your instincts. Affirm, I trust my mind, my perception, and my intuition. I am grounded in my reality. This affirmation acts as a mental anchor, allowing you to maintain clarity even when faced with confusing manipulations. Third, there is often a dramatic increase in emotional manipulation. Narcissists excel at triggering guilt, fear, or anxiety to control your responses and maintain dominance. They may use silent treatments, passive-aggressive remarks, or even false promises of change to destabilize your emotional equilibrium. Understanding this pattern is crucial. Their attempt to provoke emotional reactions are not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a strategy to elicit control. Affirm, my inner peace is more powerful than any attempt to manipulate me. I choose balance and serenity over chaos. By consciously repeating this affirmation, you create a protective mental boundary that diminishes their influence over your emotional state. Fourth, you may notice constant competition, even in seemingly trivial matters. The narcissist perceives your ideas, projects, or achievements as a direct challenge to their supremacy. They may interrupt, belittle, or attempt to outshine you in every context. This is not a reflection of your capabilities, but rather their deep insecurity and fear of being overshadowed. Understand that your growth, intelligence, and accomplishments are valid and meaningful, regardless of their reactions. Affirm, my success does not threaten anyone. I walk my path with authenticity and confidence. By internalizing this mindset, you maintain focus on your personal journey instead of being distracted by their attempts to compete. Fifth, they often attempt to isolate you from supportive networks. Friends, family, or colleagues may suddenly become targets of manipulation or subtle sabotage, leaving you feeling emotionally vulnerable. Narcissists aim to weaken your external support system so they can exert greater influence over you. It is crucial to recognize these behaviors and maintain strong, healthy relationships. Affirm, my supportive connections empower me. No one can sever bonds that nurture my growth. Keeping this affirmation in mind reinforces your social resilience and safeguards you from manipulation aimed at isolation. 6. Narcissists frequently deliver criticism disguised as advice. Comments framed as guidance or concern often carry an undercurrent of judgment, designed to undermine your confidence or question your competence. Learning to discern constructive feedback from manipulative commentary is vital for maintaining self-esteem and mental clarity. Affirm, I accept only what elevates me. My judgment is sound and my discernment strong. This approach enables you to benefit from valid insights without succumbing to attempts that aim to diminish your self-worth. 7. A narcissist may deliberately focus on your vulnerabilities, exposing them to others or repeatedly reminding you of perceived weaknesses. This behavior is intended to create a sense of inadequacy and to keep you off balance. It is important to reframe this perspective. Vulnerabilities are not flaws, but aspects of your humanity that, when acknowledged, can become sources of profound strength. Affirm, "My vulnerabilities do not define me. They empower me when embraced with self-love and understanding." By internalizing this truth, you reclaim control over your emotional narrative and neutralize attempts to weaponize your insecurities. Recognizing these patterns does more than help you understand narcissistic behavior. It empowers you to protect your emotional autonomy. Your energy, authenticity, and inner light are inviolable. Every time you encounter manipulative tactics, repeat, "I am safe, I am strong, and no one can steal my peace." By affirming these truths consistently, you create a resilient mental and emotional fortress that preserves your dignity and well-being. This knowledge, often hidden or never shared openly, equips you with the power to navigate relationships with clarity, courage, and unwavering self-respect. Furthermore, understanding the psychological mechanisms behind narcissistic behavior deepens your insight. Narcissists often operate from a place of profound insecurity, projecting their fears onto those around them. Their attempts to diminish, control, or manipulate are external manifestations of internal fragility. Recognizing this allows you to depersonalize their actions, understanding that their aggression or criticism is about them, not you. Affirm, "Their actions reflect their struggles, not my value. I remain centered and strong." By consistently applying these principles and affirmations, you are no longer a passive participant in interactions with narcissists. Instead, you become an empowered observer, able to respond from a place of strength rather than reaction. Your clarity, confidence, and unwavering self-worth act as shields, rendering attempts at manipulation ineffective. Remember, awareness is a first step toward empowerment, and by internalizing these truths, you claim the freedom to live authentically, peacefully, and confidently. When a narcissist perceives you as a threat, their behavior toward you often escalates in ways that may seem confusing, unpredictable, or even irrational. One of the most important aspects to understand is that their reactions are not about fairness or logic. They are about maintaining a self-image and protecting their fragile ego. Recognizing these behaviors early empowers you to respond with awareness rather than emotion, reducing potential harm to your mental and emotional well-being. A significant and often overlooked sign is subtle sabotage of your confidence. Narcissists excel at undermining your self-assurance without direct confrontation. They may use microaggressions, ambiguous comments, or indirect criticism designed to make you question your abilities. For example, they might casually remark on your choice of work, lifestyle, or relationships in a way that seems innocent but is intended to sow doubt. These actions are calculated to create a sense of instability in your self-perception. Affirm, "I trust my skills, my decisions, and my intuition. I stand firm in my competence and capability." By internalizing this affirmation, you build a resilient foundation that remains unaffected by attempts to destabilize you. Another hallmark of a narcissist who views you as a threat is excessive monitoring of your behavior. They often pay close attention to what you do, who you interact with, and how you respond in various situations. This surveillance is not benign curiosity. It is a means of anticipating and controlling your actions to prevent any perceived threat to their dominance. You may notice a pattern of intrusive questions, constant checking in, or subtle attempts to provoke reactions that can later be used against you. Recognize that their vigilance is about insecurity, not your worth. Affirm, "I move freely and confidently. No one can control my actions or my choices." This helps you maintain a sense of autonomy even under pressure. A narcissist may also engage in public manipulation or humiliation. They often take advantage of social settings to assert superiority and reinforce the perception that you are less capable or less significant. This might involve making offhand critical remarks in front of colleagues, exaggerating your mistakes, or subtly highlighting your weaknesses. The objective is to assert dominance and undermine your social credibility. Understand that this behavior reflects their need for control, not your actual value. Affirm, "I remain dignified, composed, and unshaken. My worth is not determined by others' opinions." Internalizing this truth ensures you do not internalize their attempts to diminish your presence or achievements. Moreover, Narcissists may attempt to create division between you and others. They understand the power of isolation and often attempt to sow distrust or conflict between you and your support network. Friends, family members, or colleagues may be subtly influenced to question your motives, credibility, or intentions. Recognizing these tactics is vital for maintaining strong and healthy connections. Affirm, I nurture authentic relationships. No one can sever bonds built on trust and love. This reminder reinforces your social resilience and safeguards your emotional environment from toxic influence. Excessive control over your narrative is another behavior to watch for. Narcissists often attempt to shape how others perceive you, twisting facts or spreading misinformation to position themselves favorably while diminishing your reputation. They may use exaggeration, selective storytelling, or even outright lies. Understanding that this is a manipulation tactic allows you to respond with calm clarity rather than defensiveness. Affirm, I am the author of my story. The truth of my life cannot be rewritten by anyone else. This empowers you to maintain ownership of your narrative and resist attempts to distort it. A common but insidious tactic is provoking guilt to maintain control. Narcissists are skilled at making you feel responsible for their emotions, actions, or failures. They may frame situations in a way that implies you are at fault, even when their behavior is the root cause of conflict. Recognize that their guilt-inducing strategies are designed to manipulate your emotions, not to reflect any true wrongdoing on your part. Affirm, I am responsible for my choices, not the emotions or actions of others. I release any undue guilt. By internalizing this affirmation, you create a mental barrier against emotional manipulation. Another key behavior is targeting your integrity and moral compass. Narcissists may attempt to distort your ethical boundaries, challenge your values, or pressure you into compromising situations to test your compliance. This is an attempt to assert psychological dominance and to destabilize your sense of self. Understanding this tactic allows you to respond from a place of strength rather than confusion. Affirm, my principles are unwavering. I act with integrity and honor, regardless of others' attempts to sway me. Maintaining this internal standard ensures your moral and ethical clarity remains intact. Importantly, narcissists often employ chronic comparison as a weapon. They measure your abilities, successes, and relationships against their own standards or against others, often highlighting where you supposedly fall short. This constant comparison creates a sense of inadequacy designed to keep you from feeling confident or independent. Recognize that comparisons are a reflection of their insecurities, not your deficiencies. Affirm, I am unique, my journey is mine alone, and I do not compete with anyone. My value is inherent. By internalizing this, you maintain self-respect and resist the corrosive influence of comparison. Additionally, narcissists may use fear and intimidation to reinforce their perceived superiority. This does not always manifest as overt aggression. Subtle threats, intimidating body language, or veiled warnings can be just as effective in maintaining control. Awareness of these tactics allows you to navigate interactions with composure, ensuring you are not emotionally hijacked by fear. Affirm, I am calm, centered, and fearless. No one can intimidate me into compromising my peace. By cultivating inner calm, you reduce their ability to manipulate through intimidation. Understanding these behaviors deeply enables you to reclaim personal power. Knowledge of the narcissist patterns is empowering because it transforms the fear of the unknown into a structured understanding of cause and effect. You no longer need to react emotionally to every provocation. Instead, you can observe, reflect, and respond strategically. Affirm, I am aware I am strong and I am in control of my responses. My mind and heart are my own. By repeating this affirmation consistently, you fortify yourself against manipulation and reclaim autonomy over your emotional and psychological state. Finally, consider the long-term impact of recognizing a narcissist's tactics. Awareness does not just protect you in the moment. It allows you to build resilience that permeates all aspects of life. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce your boundaries, practice self-care, and affirm your intrinsic worth. Affirm, every experience strengthens me. I grow wiser, stronger, and more empowered every day. This mindset transforms challenges into lessons and threats into opportunities for personal growth, enabling you to live with confidence, clarity, and unwavering self-respect. As you continue to navigate interactions with a narcissist, it becomes increasingly important to recognize the patterns of covert aggression that often go unnoticed by outsiders. These behaviors are not overtly confrontational, but are just as harmful as more direct forms of manipulation. They are designed to destabilize your sense of self and make you dependent on their approval or validation. By identifying these behaviors and understanding their purpose, you can maintain your autonomy and emotional equilibrium. One subtle yet powerful tactic is emotional triangulation. Narcissists often involve a third party to manipulate your feelings, provoke jealousy, or create unnecessary conflict. This could be a friend, family member, or colleague who is unintentionally drawn into their manipulative strategy. The goal is to make you question your relationships and doubt your social support. Recognize that this is a reflection of their need to control the narrative, not your relationships. Affirm, "My relationships are strong, healthy, and grounded in truth. I am surrounded by people who support me genuinely." Internalizing this affirmation helps you resist being caught in their manipulative webs. Another strategy is weaponizing kindness or affection. Narcissists may alternate between cruelty and charm, offering praise or attention after a period of emotional abuse. This intermittent reinforcement keeps you psychologically engaged, often making it difficult to recognize the abuse. They understand the power of creating dependency through positive reinforcement and then withdrawing it unpredictably. Acknowledge this dynamic and affirm, "I recognize my worth regardless of someone's temporary approval. My value is constant and unshakable." This reinforces your emotional independence and prevents manipulation through conditional affection. Projection is another common tool used by narcissists. They often accuse others of behaviors, thoughts, or feelings that they themselves are exhibiting. For instance, if they are deceitful, they may insist you are lying. If they are controlling, they may claim you are trying to dominate them. This tactic is intended to confuse, provoke guilt, and deflect accountability. Recognize the truth. Their accusations are a mirror of their own behavior, not an indictment of your character. Affirm, "Their words reflect their choices and behaviors, not my identity. I am clear, honest, and grounded." This affirmation strengthens your self-perception against attempts to distort it. Narcissists may also employ strategic withdrawal of support. When they perceive you as a threat, they may suddenly stop offering the guidance, attention, or encouragement you once received. This withdrawal can create anxiety, self-doubt, or fear of abandonment. Understanding this as a deliberate manipulation tactic allows you to remain centered and not internalize their absence as a reflection of your value. Affirm, "I am whole and capable on my own. Support from others is a gift, not a requirement for my well-being." By repeating this affirmation, you reinforce self-reliance and emotional resilience. Another insidious tactic is constant comparison to others. Narcissists often measure your achievements, relationships, or appearance against an ideal or against other people, using these comparisons to instill a sense of inadequacy. Recognize that these comparisons are a reflection of their insecurities and desire for control, not an accurate measure of your worth. Affirm, "I honor my journey and achievements. I do not compare myself to others. My path is unique and my value is inherent." This mindset helps you focus on personal growth rather than external validation. Narcissists are also adept at creating dependency through fear of loss. They may subtly suggest that you are at risk of losing something important, be it their attention, affection, or approval, if you do not comply with their expectations. This tactic plays on anxiety and emotional vulnerability, aiming to reinforce their perceived power. By recognizing the strategy, you can maintain emotional autonomy and resist coercion. Affirm, "I am independent and empowered. No one controls my peace or dictates my choices." Repeating this reinforces your ability to make decisions free from fear-based influence. Exaggeration of your mistakes is another common behavior. Narcissists will magnify errors or missteps, often bring them up repeatedly to keep you in a state of self-doubt. They may also use selective memory, reminding you of past failures while conveniently ignoring your successes. Understand that their focus on your mistakes is not about justice or fairness. It is about control. Affirm, I learn from my mistakes and celebrate my successes. My value is not diminished by errors, and I am growing stronger every day. This affirmation empowers you to maintain perspective and self-confidence. A narcissist may also engage in strategic intimidation through unpredictability. They may be calm and agreeable one moment and angry or dismissive the next. This inconsistency fosters anxiety and uncertainty, making it easier for them to control your behavior. Recognizing the pattern allows you to respond from a place of stability rather than fear. Affirm, I remain steady and grounded, unaffected by others' moods. My inner calm is unshakable. Internalizing this affirmation strengthens emotional resilience against volatility. Undermining your accomplishments publicly is another tactic. A narcissist may downplay your achievements in front of peers, colleagues, or family to assert dominance and maintain a sense of superiority. Recognize that their actions are motivated by envy and insecurity, not by an objective assessment of your accomplishments. Affirm, I celebrate my successes privately and publicly. My achievements are meaningful and recognized by those who truly matter. This mindset reinforces your self-worth and prevents external opinions from diminishing your confidence. Furthermore, narcissists often employ emotional blackmail, leveraging your compassion, guilt, or empathy to manipulate your actions. They may suggest that failing to comply with their wishes would cause them harm or disappointment. This manipulative tactic exploits your emotional intelligence and moral sensibilities. Recognize the strategy and affirm, I act with integrity and compassion, but I do not allow guilt or fear control my choices. My actions are guided by wisdom and self-respect. By internalizing this affirmation, you maintain ethical clarity and resist manipulation. Ultimately, understanding these behavioral patterns equips you to reclaim authority over your emotional and psychological space. Awareness transforms vulnerability into strength, enabling you to navigate interactions with clarity, discernment, and confidence. Affirm, I am aware, resilient, and empowered. My mind and heart are mine alone, and no one can manipulate or diminish my inner strength. By continuously applying these affirmations, you develop a fortified sense of self, impervious to external attempts to destabilize or control you. As you deepen your understanding of narcissistic behavior, it becomes increasingly clear that their tactics are often strategically calculated to maintain control and assert dominance. Recognizing these strategies equips you with the tools to navigate interactions without falling prey to manipulation. Awareness transforms confusion into clarity, fear into empowerment, and vulnerability into strength. One common yet often overlooked tactic is selective attention and deliberate neglect. Narcissists frequently ignore or dismiss aspects of your life that they cannot control or that do not directly benefit them, while fixating intensely on areas where they perceive a threat. For example, they may completely disregard your achievements at work, your personal milestones, or even moments of emotional growth, while scrutinizing your actions, relationships, or decisions. This selective attention serves to destabilize your confidence and reinforce their perceived superiority. Affirm, I honor my achievements and growth. My accomplishments are valid and meaningful, regardless of external acknowledgement. By internalizing this affirmation, you protect your self-worth from the distortions of selective attention. Another prominent strategy is the creation of dependency through fluctuating reinforcement. Narcissists are masters of providing praise, approval, or attention inconsistently, keeping you psychologically engaged and uncertain. This intermittent reinforcement strengthens their control because it creates a subconscious craving for validation. You may feel compelled to adjust your behavior constantly, seeking approval that may never be consistent. Recognize this pattern and affirm, I am complete and whole without external validation. My worth does not depend on anyone else's approval. This affirmation reinforces independence and diminishes the effectiveness of manipulative reinforcement. Chronic criticism disguised as advice is another tool they frequently employ. Narcissists often offer guidance that is laden with subtle judgment, disguised as concern or instruction. This behavior undermines your confidence and subtly encourages self-doubt. For instance, they may suggest ways to improve your work, appearance, or social interactions, but the underlying intention is to assert dominance and question your competence. Affirm, I discern constructive feedback from manipulation. I accept what empowers me and release what diminishes me. This mental filter preserves your autonomy and strengthens your confidence in decision-making. Another critical behavior is strategic provocation, designed to elicit emotional responses. Narcissists intentionally create scenarios that trigger fear, anger, or frustration, using your reactions to maintain leverage. For example, they may make subtle threats, confront you aggressively over minor issues, or challenge your moral choices to provoke defensiveness. Recognizing this tactic allows you to respond intentionally rather than reactively. Affirm, I remain calm, composed, and grounded. My emotions are mind control, and no one can provoke me beyond my choice. By adopting this mindset, you maintain emotional stability and neutralize attempts to manipulate your reactions. Isolation tactics are also prevalent. Narcissists often attempt to distance you from supportive networks, subtly undermining relationships that provide emotional reinforcement. They may manipulate others' perceptions, spread rumors, or create conflicts that pull you away from allies. Understanding this allows you to maintain strong, authentic connections and resist being cut off from your support system. Affirm, I am surrounded by people who value and support me. My connections are protected and nurtured. This affirmation reinforces social resilience and safeguards your emotional well-being. Projection continues to be a major strategy. Narcissists frequently attribute their negative traits, behaviors, or intentions onto you. For instance, if they are deceitful, they may accuse you of lying. If they are controlling, they insist you are manipulative. This tactic not only deflects accountability, but also generates self-doubt. Recognize that projections are a mirror of their insecurities, not a reflection of your reality. Affirm, their projections are their own. I am clear, truthful, and grounded in my authenticity. By internalizing this affirmation, you strengthen your psychological armor against distortions. Another sophisticated tactic is subtle intimidation through unpredictability. Narcissists often oscillate between charm and hostility, creating a volatile emotional environment. This unpredictability fosters anxiety, making you hyper-aware of your behavior and giving them indirect control. Awareness of this pattern allows you to navigate interactions with calmness and strategic detachment. Affirm, I am steady, resilient, and unaffected by others' volatility. My inner peace is inviolable. Repeating this affirmation empowers you to maintain equilibrium amidst external chaos. Exaggeration and selective memory are also tools in their repertoire. Narcissists magnify your errors, emphasize past failures, and conveniently forget your successes. This pattern fosters self-doubt and positions them as superior or more competent. Understanding that this behavior is rooted in insecurity rather than truth enables you to maintain perspective. Affirm, I honor my journey, embrace my growth, and learn from experiences. My value is constant and independent of others' distortions. This affirmation maintains self-confidence and prevents manipulation from undermining your sense of self. Narcissists may also attempt to manipulate moral or ethical boundaries. They challenge your principles, question your decisions, or pressure you to compromise your values. This tactic tests your self-respect and attempts to assert control over your internal compass. Recognizing this allows you to respond firmly and ethically. Affirm, my principles guide me. I act with integrity and honor, regardless of external pressure. Internalizing this affirmation ensures your moral clarity remains intact. Finally, the long-term effect of understanding these patterns is profound. Awareness transforms vulnerability into strength, equipping you with tools to maintain emotional sovereignty. Every encounter with a narcissist becomes an opportunity to reinforce your boundaries, affirm your self-worth, and practice emotional mastery. Affirm, I am aware, empowered, and unshakable. My mind and heart are mine, and I navigate life with clarity and strength. By adopting this perspective, you transform potential threats into opportunities for personal growth and resilience, enabling a life of confidence, peace, and unwavering authenticity. Recognizing these behaviors is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a practical, empowering strategy for life. By understanding the motives behind narcissistic actions, you reclaim authority over your emotional landscape. Each affirmation reinforces inner strength, detaches from manipulation, and affirms your inherent worth. Through consistent awareness and practice, you develop resilience that extends far beyond any single interaction, shaping a life grounded in self-respect, clarity, and authentic power. In the final stage of understanding narcissistic behavior, it becomes clear that the ultimate goal of recognizing their tactics is not just offense, it is empowerment and self-mastery. The knowledge gained through careful observation and reflection allows you to navigate interactions with discernment, confidence, and emotional resilience. It transforms fear into clarity, confusion into strategic awareness, and vulnerability into an unshakable sense of self. A key aspect of maintaining power over your interactions with a narcissist is establishing and maintaining boundaries. Narcissists often test limits to gauge how much control they can exert. They may intrude into your personal space, disregard your time, or attempt to dictate your choices. Awareness of these boundary violations allows you to respond assertively rather than reactively. Affirm, "My boundaries are sacred and non-negotiable. I protect my space, time, and energy with clarity and strength." This affirmation empowers you to enforce boundaries consistently, creating a protective framework around your emotional and psychological well-being. Another essential tactic is maintaining emotional detachment without disengagement. While it is important to remain empathetic and socially engaged, a narcissist thrives on emotional reactions. By observing interactions objectively and responding calmly, you reduce their leverage and maintain control over your mental state. Affirm, "I engage with clarity and compassion, yet my emotions remain my own. No one can manipulate or hijack my peace." This balance between engagement and detachment ensures you are not manipulated into emotional vulnerability. Narcissists often utilize conditional approval and selective praise to maintain influence. They reward compliance and diminish independence, creating a psychological dependency. Recognizing this tactic allows you to value your own judgment and achievements independently of external validation. Affirm, "I am complete and whole. My worth is inherent and does not require validation from anyone." This mindset strengthens internal resilience and diminishes the power of conditional praise to control behavior. A significant pattern is exploitation of trust and confidentiality. Narcissists may reveal personal information, distort facts, or betray confidences to manipulate perception and assert dominance. Understanding this pattern allows you to safeguard personal information and maintain discretion without compromising authenticity. Affirm, "I share my truth wisely and protect my integrity. My trust is earned and respected." By internalizing this affirmation, you create a protective barrier against attempts to exploit your transparency. Another common behavior is emotional baiting. Narcissists provoke strong reactions through calculated statements, gestures, or actions, aiming to elicit anger, guilt, or anxiety. They may exaggerate, fabricate, or manipulate circumstances to achieve this outcome. Recognizing emotional baiting allows you to choose your response strategically rather than reacting impulsively. Affirm, "I control my emotional responses. I respond with wisdom and composure, unaffected by manipulation." This affirmation reinforces self-regulation and strengthens psychological fortitude. Persistent undermining of confidence is another tactic frequently employed. Narcissists may highlight perceived weaknesses repeatedly, question your decisions, or cast doubt on your abilities. Awareness of this tactic allows you to differentiate between constructive feedback and deliberate undermining. Affirm, "I trust my abilities, my judgment, and my intuition. I grow stronger with every challenge." By internalizing this affirmation, you fortify self-confidence and resilience. Narcissists often attempt to distort your reality through selective memory or reinterpretation of events. They may claim that certain events never occurred, that your recollection is inaccurate, or that your interpretation is unreasonable. Recognizing this behavior helps you maintain clarity and trust in your own perceptions. Affirm, "I trust my memories and my understanding of reality. I discern truth with clarity and confidence." This affirmation strengthens your mental resilience and counters attempts to induce self-doubt. Leveraging social perception is another manipulative tactic. Narcissists often aim to control how others view you, spreading misinformation or subtly casting doubt on your character. Awareness of this behavior allows you to protect your social reputation and maintain integrity. Affirm, I am the author of my narrative. My actions reflect my values, not the distortions of others. Internalizing this truth preserves your credibility and reduces the impact of external manipulation. Finally, the culmination of recognizing all these tactics is complete empowerment and self-sovereignty. Understanding the mechanisms of narcissistic behavior equips you to respond strategically, protect your emotional health, and affirm your inherent worth. Each encounter becomes an opportunity to reinforce personal boundaries, cultivate resilience, and practice self-affirmation. Affirm, I am empowered, resilient, and sovereign. My mind, heart, and spirit are mine, and no one can diminish my light. Embracing this knowledge transforms interactions with narcissists from potentially harmful encounters into opportunities for personal growth and mastery. Every observation strengthens awareness. Every affirmation fortifies confidence, and every boundary set reinforces autonomy. You cultivate the ability to engage with the world from a place of clarity, integrity, and strength. Affirm, I navigate life with discernment, courage, and authenticity. My power is unwavering and my peace is inviolable. In conclusion, the journey of recognizing and understanding narcissistic behavior is not merely about defense. It is a profound path to empowerment. It provides tools to maintain emotional and psychological integrity, to strengthen self-worth, and to cultivate resilience in all areas of life. By internalizing these strategies and affirmations, you achieve mastery over your interactions, protect your energy, and embrace a life grounded in authenticity, clarity, and unwavering self-respect. Affirm, I am aware, empowered, and unshakable. My life is guided by truth, my heart is strong, and my light cannot be dimmed. With this knowledge and mindset, you transform challenges into growth, threats into lessons, and manipulation into opportunities for profound personal empowerment. Once you understand how a narcissist perceives threats, you begin to see the patterns of manipulation and control that define their behavior. Narcissists instinctively detect confidence, authenticity, and strength in others, and when they sense these qualities, they react in ways designed to destabilize, control, or diminish you. Recognizing these behaviors is the first step toward reclaiming your power, preserving your peace, and maintaining your emotional and psychological sovereignty. The signs are subtle but powerful. Narcissists may minimize your achievements, distort reality through gaslighting, manipulate your emotions, or attempt to isolate you from your support network. They may offer praise selectively, criticize under the guise of advice, or provoke emotional reactions to maintain control. Understanding these patterns allows you to respond strategically rather than reactively, keeping your mind and heart clear, grounded, and strong. Affirmations are a crucial tool in this journey. Remind yourself, my worth is independent of others' opinions. My light shines regardless. I trust my mind, my perception, my intuition. I am grounded in my reality. My inner peace is more powerful than any attempt to manipulate me. I choose balance and serenity over chaos. Each affirmation strengthens your resilience, fortifies boundaries, and reinforces your self-respect, creating a mental and emotional fortress against manipulation. Narcissists employ covert strategies like emotional triangulation, projection, selective attention, intermittent reinforcement, and fear-based control. They magnify mistakes, distort memories, and manipulate social perception to undermine your confidence. Awareness of these tactics allows you to separate their insecurities from your value, depersonalize their attacks, and maintain autonomy over your choices and responses. Maintaining boundaries is essential. Protect your time, energy, and personal space. Remain emotionally detached without disengaging, discerning constructive feedback from manipulation, and responding with calm clarity. Affirm, I am complete and whole without external validation. My worth is inherent and unshakable. This practice ensures that your decisions, actions, and emotional responses remain yours alone, impervious to coercion or manipulation. Ultimately, the journey is one of empowerment. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice self-respect, resilience, and authenticity. Recognize that their tactics are reflections of their own insecurities, not your deficiencies. Use knowledge, affirmations, and emotional intelligence to reclaim your power, navigate relationships wisely, and cultivate a life rooted in clarity, dignity, and unwavering self-confidence. Affirm, I am aware, resilient, and empowered. My mind, heart, and spirit are mine. I navigate life with discernment, courage, and authenticity. My power is unwavering, and my peace is inviolable. With this awareness, strategies, and mindset, challenges become lessons, threats become opportunities for growth, and manipulation is transformed into a catalyst for profound personal empowerment. You are no longer vulnerable to their tactics. You are strong, sovereign, and unshakable. This knowledge is your guide to reclaiming control, protecting your emotional energy, and living authentically. By internalizing these insights, you create a life where your boundaries are respected, your self-worth is honored, and your interactions are grounded in clarity and truth. Affirm. Every day, I grow stronger, wiser, and more empowered. My life is guided by authenticity, and my inner light cannot be dimmed. If this video resonated with you, comment below with aware and empowered to share your experience. Don't forget to subscribe to Healing Echoes for more insights that strengthen your mind, heart, and spirit.